This episode contains sensitive topics. Discretion is advised. Welcome in, everybody. Please take a seat. Your waitress will be right with you. Today, I am your host, Puce Planet, aka Puce. With me today, I have Alt.
Hello.
Unfortunately, Minka cannot make it. She's out doing her girl boss business thing, making real life money instead of working in the lounge today. But we do have a guest. I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I can't say their name.
Hello, my name is MisterretsiM, and I am a professional smut writer.
And I will be referring to you as M because that's just nice and easy.
Works for me.
So, when you say you write smut, what kind of smut do you exactly write?
I primarily write smut of the hyper variety, in which that I write characters that have appendages and stuff that are bigger than average. So, dicks that start at 2 feet, balls the size of watermelon, breasts that you wouldn't see on anybody besides like Bashine. And additionally, it's mostly Futanari. And I also write, to go along with those giant dicks and balls, lots of semen and cum inflation.
I can get behind a few of those.
Few is better than none.
I can get behind 95% of that, if not all of it, depending on the situation.
I was gonna say, what can you not get behind? This is you we're talking about.
Yeah, that's fair. You messaging us and I finding your stories was like, I have a new gold mine to find.
Isn't that always the best? You discover somebody and you're like, there's a 3-year backlog of content here.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be reading your stuff for a little while. That's for sure.
Hope you find at least most of it to your enjoyment. I also do write fetishes that go along with those. Like I have written expansion content, like breast expansion and ass expansion and cock growth. As well as transformation. I wrote a story that involved bimbofication, and I write Netto Rare and cut cold content also.
Netto Rare?
God.
NTR.
What's NTR stand for again? I can't remember.
Netto Rare.
You just said the word.
Netto Rare.
That is what it stands for.
Yes. And in fact, because that's kind of what I started with, was writing hyperfuda cuck content, I have seen myself around be referred to as the cuck guy. So
I would hate that in my internet presence.
I was going to say, I feel like in certain parts of the internet, that's unfortunately not the greatest title to have.
Yeah.
Do you wear that as a badge of honor, or just like, hey, let's not talk about that?
I have mixed feelings about it because, like, when I started in like the first 6 months that I was writing, probably like 75% of the stories I wrote involved cucking in some manner. But like at this point, where it's almost my 3-year anniversary since I posted my first story. Like I would say now that more than half of my stories don't involve it. So like sometimes I feel like it's, like I'm pigeonholed into it, but then also like whenever I do post a cuck story, it always does super well anyways. So can't escape it.
All right, I will convene with the council. We may or may not have you back to talk about NTR and cucking because I need to understand because I don't.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, to be fair, that sounds a lot like Markiplier when he plays anything but Five Nights at Freddy's. And then when he plays that, everybody goes insane.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You have like your one thing. Like for me, it's like I write hyperfuda and cum inflation and stuff, and Markiplier plays video games. That's like our baseline. But if he plays Five Nights at Freddy's or a horror game, his video is going to get 10 million views automatically. When I write a story with cuck, it's almost always guaranteed to do better than like the other stuff I've released around it.
Okay, I thought he was calling Markiplier a cuck, and I'm
No.
like, I know where you live. I will hurt you.
I mean, Markiplier might be into some BDSM stuff, but
listen, Markiplier's from where I live. He is our national treasure. Fuck
he's
the
from
Ball
Ohio?
Brothers. Yes.
Oh, I can see why he left.
He came back.
Is he back?
For a while.
That doesn't mean he stayed.
That's why I said he came back for a while. We also have Scott DeWaz, who is still here.
You
still
also have the Paul brothers.
They don't live here. Scott DeWaz still lives here.
Oh, that's fair. But the Logan Paul and Jake Paul did come from there.
We got LeBron James too, so fuck you.
He didn't stay there either.
His kids are here. Kid? Children, child.
Probably has many
I don't
children.
fucking know. I don't fucking know. Sports aren't real. So, do you have a degree in words?
No, I actually have no background in creative writing. I hadn't written anything creative in probably close to a decade, and then I gave it a try, and I was good at it, I guess.
What the you're a savant. Got it.
I, I'm almost 30. I'm an old man.
Don't worry, we're all almost 30 or past it.
I've been reading erotica for probably about 15 years. And when I sat down to write, which partially came out of like COVID and quarantine and all that, part of when I sat down to write, I was like, all right, mentally, I was like, what are things that I think a lot of other smut writers either don't do well or don't like think about as much? And so that's what I focused on. And it turns out that a lot of people agreed with me.
Okay.
Specifically, my stories are very long. And maybe overly detailed. Like, I am a very verbose writer, but the reason I do that is because it's like, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many times I'll see like a story with a promising premise and a promising beginning, and then the entire sex scene is done in like 5 paragraphs.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I click on a story on Literotica and it doesn't have me page to the next page, I'm like, oh well, this is gonna be very quick and not enough.
Absolutely, it might be a little bit harsh, but I definitely have judged when I've seen like a standalone story and it's like 3,000 words, and I'm like, I need 3,000 words just to set up a sex scene, like, and that's the thing, I was writing what I wanted to see, which is also that I think that there is, and I've had a lot of friends complain about this, there's not enough hyperfuda written smut out there, because there's so much of like SFM and blender porn of it and so much art and stuff, but like really when it comes to stories, like you start to search high and low
There has been like I've spent days looking for a good Fuda story, and I've been like,
days?
Nothing.
Oh yeah, sometimes I'll just like, in the past more, I would have like a page bookmarked and I'd be like on page 8 of some site and I'd just start going through it until I found something good, and keep bookmarking every time I left off just so I could keep searching.
You never just get in the mood for one thing, Alt, and just like search until you can't find anything good?
You're on page 36 of X videos and you're wondering what led you there?
No.
I think the worst thing is when somebody writes a good part 1, and that was like 5 years ago, and there's never been a part 2. Those make me cry.
So I'm gonna out myself as a degenerate. I go for tags. If I like the tags, I'll read it. If there's no more, find something that has the same tags, different premise.
I'm with you. I mean, you'd be surprise. I write hyper stuff, so I look at tags generally revolving around oversized penises. But even that, at one point, it's like I've read it all. I've read it all on every site that I can think of.
Fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, and that's how it started. And I just wanted to write these really detailed, longer stories, because I felt that that's what was missing from a lot of smut in general, instead of these like 2,000 word snippets where right as it's starting to get good, it's like, oh, and then she came and end of story. And it turned out that I wasn't alone, because a lot of people were immediately like fans.
Where have you been all my life?
Yeah.
Totally agree.
That's gotta be like the greatest feeling in the world. Can't relate.
It's a pretty good feeling to have people like pop up and be like, this is the hottest thing I've ever read. You're my favorite author, smut author, whatever. What took me a little bit longer to get used to was like putting out a story and 24 hours later somebody's like, I jerked off to this 5 times already, and I'm like, thanks, buddy.
How?
Hey,
people
when
are
it hits the spot.
True.
All right, motherfucker, I need 6 hours of sleep. My shift is fucking 8 hours at work.
Hey, when you find the
That's
good
what, that's
stuff,
14.
you don't need sleep.
Motherfucker, if you want your mail on time, I need sleep. Not broken, I need sleep.
No, you tell me you found that 10 out of 10 like material. I'll understand.
When I do find it, I go, okay. When I don't have anything planned, I'll read it so I can enjoy it. If it's just like whatever flavor of the week, night, day, I don't really care. Whatever gets the job done.
Oh, see, then there's me who I was reading the story at work and I was like, oh, I should probably not read this. I need to turn off my tablet.
Okay, but you have access to a bathroom and a partner, so
That's fair.
I don't have either of those. One of those. Yeah, we have bathrooms at work.
You try really hard on our Twitter. I see all those comments.
Well, we need to start interacting with people so we can grow. I want money. I want a nice microphone. I want to be able to fly you two fuckers to a studio and we have an in-person podcast episode. I would also like to get big enough we can go have the podcast at a fucking adult convention.
That'd be pretty dope.
So the baby steps. Sorry if I sound aggressive. This is like the 5th time I've said these exact words to that exact question.
It's understandable.
Also, I can piss him off by the 100 volumes of manga and light novel I have in one bookshelf that I just haven't touched because I don't have time.
Is that not upsetting him? Like, he doesn't read anything he's got.
I have read the first 7 volumes of No Game No Life, all 12 volumes of Sweetness and Lightning, all 10 volumes of Gal Gohan, and past that we get a little dicey.
The No Game No Life anime was fun.
Yeah, I immediately went, I need to know what happens next. I'm gonna go buy the books, and then the author went, "Ayo, hospital." We went, fuck. But he's out now, so it's fine.
That's good. I can relate. Despite reading a lot of smut and being a writer myself, for the past few years, I just really haven't read anything. And so one of my goals this year has been to go through my bookshelf and start reading all the books that I haven't read. So I definitely, it might not be 100 volumes of manga and stuff, but I definitely have a whole load of novels that are filling my bookshelf unread.
See, people get busy, Puce.
Fair. I'll accept it. I've moved on from my anger.
And again, they look so nice on my bookshelf.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean you can't take them off the bookshelf.
I don't know, man. It's like a whole 2 feet away.
You upset me.
Also, my figures and my plushies are in front of the books I've already read, so,
Yeah, that's the ones you've read. Move on to the ones you haven't read.
It's like a whole other bookshelf.
Fine, whatever.
I have one for things I have read and things I haven't read. And complete series. Because half of these are completed series. I'm like, I'll get to it one day. Also, there's so many fucking video games to play, man. I literally got my copy of Code Rain today. And I'm like, I want to play this. And then there's Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is never ending. It does not stop, ever.
Sorry about this tangent, Em. I feel like you probably have listened to a few of them.
Because someone was like, I want tangents.
I feel that similarly about Persona 5, which I still haven't managed to beat.
Royal or base?
Royal.
Who are you going to pick for your wife?
Girlfriend. Already did that. The nurse.
Okay, we can be friends. All right, we can be friends. Not my first choice, but yeah, we can be friends.
I didn't even realize it was happening, and I was like, I guess I picked the right dialogue.
So
if you're already romantically involved, you're a decent portion of the way through the game.
I stopped off because I lost 3 different times to Haru's dad's boss fight.
We can talk later. I got you.
I can do it. The last time that I lost, it was my fault. I made a stupid decision. But yeah, it sucked my soul out of that game for a little bit.
Understandable. I'm going to give you one tip and then we will actually continue. Make sure you are doing mementos. Do not put that off.
Oh, after the first time that I lost, I went and I grinded in mementos for like an hour.
good, because that will make the end game infinitely more not wanting to kill yourself. Because oh my god,
I made sure to give Joker a strong persona with whatever the attack style that Haru has, the like psychic or whatever, because that was like one of the places I got stuck on the boss fight.
Got you. Okay. Okay, now you can bring it back. I'm sorry. I don't get to talk to people about Persona 5. I love Persona 5. It's such a good story in characters.
Fun so far.
I love how that was tried to recover from a tangent just to fall into another tangent.
Listen, I don't get to talk about video games with people here.
Hey, sometimes we find people who play video games.
They just don't play what I like to play, so, you know.
I'm the opposite. I don't play horny video games.
Oh, man, Senran Kagura is real fun, though.
So, you've mentioned that you've been writing. So, you said you started writing because COVID, right?
Yes.
Well, that's one good thing that came out of COVID.
Well, it was kind of a weird situation where I was working as a server at a restaurant when the state I'm in went to quarantine. And... I was like temporarily laid off while we were carry out only. And I had all this free time, and all I did was play classic WoW, and I got really into raiding. And then the quarantine lifted. And if you've never raided in classic WoW, it's like a full-time job. That's like a 20, 30-hour commitment a week. And like, because of how things were when we got back, I was scheduled a lot, and I just didn't have time to do that anymore. And that had literally been everything, like all I'd done during quarantine was raid in classic WoW, and I needed something new. And on my like normal personal Twitter, I saw the meme that is mentioned in my story, "A Condom Big Enough for a Fuda," the first chapter, and it gave me the idea for the story. And I was like, I've had ideas for like stories before, never written them, but then I had nothing to do, and I still had nothing to do. And I was like, well, maybe I'll give it a shot. And then like a week and a half later, it was finished, and I was like, this isn't bad. And here I am 3 years later.
Well, that's good.
Nice.
So, I've always been meaning to ask this of people who do write for Literotica. Is this a for fun thing that you just feel like writing stories and you just write them and give them out to people? Or do you have some sort of income from this?
I make all my income off of this.
Off of Literotica writings?
Yeah, when I said professional smut writer in my introduction, I meant it. I pay all my bills, all my spending money, all my food money, everything comes from writing.
I gotta ask how, because I don't know how, I don't see any of the dots how they connect.
I have a Patreon, which I've had for about going on 2 years, over a year and a half now. That has basically been continuously growing since I first made it. And I take commissions. Every other story I write is a commission, and because my stories are long and my prices are relatively fair for a smut author, I make a lot of money off of them because the people who want to commission me know the kind of things that I write, and they want long stories from me. So I end up making a good bit of money off of commissions. And I'm not rolling in the dough or anything, but I'm not suffering.
Right, you're making enough to make a living.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you charge per page or per word?
You charge per word. Per page is messy because like a page with only dialogue is going to be a lot quicker to write than a page with
action.
That's mostly like descriptions and actions. And yeah, I charge 1.6 cents a word, which is $16 per 1,000 words. And my average story is about 20 to 30,000 words.
We are in the wrong profession. I'm woefully underpaid, so we're gonna have to talk later, Puce.
I'm not paying M's rates of $1 per word.
That's fine.
I will say something that sort of helps, and I'm a little bit hesitant to say this.
I mean, it can be cut if you want.
No, it'll be fine. This isn't like insulting to anybody. I have a little bit of like, when it comes to the like, hyper fuda general like smut writing genre, I have like a little bit of like a corner of the, like my own corner of the market. Like you're not going to find a lot of other writers that are putting out works as consistently as I do, or like I don't want to say consistent quality, but like my quality is to some extent something I'm known for. And so like I've cornered that market a little bit. So like I don't want to say people don't have a choice, but like I couldn't name you other hyperfood smut authors that are doing what I'm doing.
I mean, there's not many authors in general in the smut category that seem to be even on a relatively consistent basis of releases.
And it's hard to be consistent when it's just a when it's like just a hobby, which it is for most people. And I think the other thing that helps me out is obviously you said you used Literotica. I post on 4 different sites, and a lot of those sites are big on like fan fiction, which you don't see as much of on Literotica. Um, and I've written some fan fiction here and there, but in my opinion, it helps my own popularity and my reader base and my success and stuff that most of my works are original because there's no barrier to entry. You know, I don't need to know XYZ plot and this character to understand a story or the relationship. You know, you read an original work, you're starting fresh, you get it.
So then you know about probably way far on a tangent. You know of Archive of Our Own getting hacked
That
a week or so ago.
Yeah, I was just happy it wasn't on a day that I post my stories.
Did you hear about that, Alt?
No.
So Archive, well, you probably know better than me,
Not really. It got DDoS attacked like last
almost about a week ago.
like last Monday, and it was down for about 24 hours. There's some rumors that it was some Russian anonymous group that did it, but I have no idea.
Yeah, there's rumors of it being the Russians. Some people say it's Muslim terrorist group. Some people say it's Russians acting as if they are the Muslim terrorist group.
That's the one I heard.
It was weird. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Involved and complicated.
I mean, it didn't really affect me besides I guess I missed out on a day of views. One other thing that helps me is like, I have a backlog of stories that you can only get by subscribing to my Patreon.
Ah, good idea.
And when I release a story publicly, except for stories that I released before I had a Patreon because I'm anal and it would bother me to split it up. Like let's say I write a 20,000 word story, right? When it goes up on Patreon, patrons get the whole 20,000 words all at once. But when I post it on a public site months down the road, I split it into like arbitrary 5,000 word chapters with a little note that's like, yo, if you want to read all of this, here's the place to do it, or here's a place to check out to do it, if I can write that kind of thing, because like Literotica wouldn't let me. That entices people to join, and then they stay because they keep getting more material. Instead of having to wait a month to read one story, you can read the first part of it and be like, oh shit, this is hot, I'm gonna sign up and read it now.
All right, after the recording, we gotta have a conversation because we're doing something wrong. Also, I forgot. I wanted to ask you. I was gonna say this like 5 minutes ago. What you have is a legal monopoly on your specific fetish niche. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
You own 28% because the monopoly is 29%. Those are illegal, kids. So just own 28% of the market and you'll be good.
Boy, if there's kids listening to us, turn our podcast
that was fuck you.
Go somewhere else. Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's how it feels. Like I'm friends with a lot of other smut authors. I know a lot of other smut authors who like write in the genre and stuff. But again, for 90% of these people, it's a hobby. So like, yeah, it's great when they release, one story of a month, but it's a month or whatever. But it's easier for me to maintain and keep building a fan base when I literally put something out every single week. So, and every single week publicly, patrons generally get about 2 stories a month.
Man. So you don't go to work. I guess it's your full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't there yet. we ain't there yet.
I'm not gonna lie, it does sound like a dream come true though to be able to write smut full time and just, especially if it's something you're into, be able to write
Yeah,
about it.
it's a dream come true is a good way to put it. It's definitely nice, it is one of those things though where like it does take some amount of self-discipline to keep up with because I'm my own boss. There's nobody to be like,
No set hours. So you
yeah.
gotta set your own hours.
And I work a regular schedule. Like today is one of my work days. Um and generally I work from about 1 to 2 until 5 to 6 p.m. Take a break for a few hours, and then I work again from about 9 to 10 p.m. till about 1 to 2 a.m.
So
So
you
you have
fit
a
us in your
decent
slots.
work-life balance. Work-life balance, I
Hmm.
can speak.
I also,
Okay.
I write, technically, I only write about 3 days a week. Generally, I write Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Hmm.
Um, and on those days, like I said, with the hours that I write, generally I'm writing about 8 to 10 hours total on each of those days. But it still feels sometimes like a full-time job because like I have to manage Patreon and I have to post public stuff on all these different sites which
Yep.
requires different formatting and editing, and sometimes that eats up a whole hour. I've got
Yeah.
3 unread messages from people who want commissions that I just haven't had the strength to open yet. And like, there's just all this kind of stuff, all the sites I have to maintain and stuff. I don't have a secretary that answers.
So what you're saying is work from home isn't all uh, flowers and rainbows.
No, no, it's not. But it's also like I shouldn't complain because I said I was a server before this. I would, even though I was making better money as a server, um, I would still rather do this. Like my quality of life is much better, and my complaints are just that I am sometimes lazy about having to do like a big edit or an edit for something that's going public or responding to a messages, and like that's not even like a real issue. My biggest real issue is sitting down and being like, all right, time to write, and then my fingers don't move.
No, your mental health is also important.
Yeah, but
You did your time in hell, so
Yeah, you do work a server. That's worse than what you do. Because you don't deal with the general public. He did.
hmm? Are you talking to me?
Yet.
I deal with the general public. Well, not now.
How? How?
Now I don't.
That's what I'm talking about. You don't. Fuck you. So, are you more of like? Is your vocabulary good, or is it your punctuation and grammar good?
I would hopefully say all of the above.
Well, he doesn't spell you with just a U, so that's a step.
Uh,
Good though.
I do when I'm writing out somebody typing a text message because I do try to keep all forms of dialogue to sound somewhat natural. I would say in general that my vocabulary, grammar, sentence structure, all of the above is above average at the very least. Like, you're not going to see me put out works that are just one big wall of text, or a common rule that I see a lot of hobby smut writers do is like within one paragraph, two people should never speak. You need to break before the second paragraph because it could get very confusing and it looks like shit. So yeah, I mean in general, I pay a lot of attention to the sentence structure and my vocabulary, and I use a lot of like writing tricks like 3 times repetition and alliteration and goofy dumbass metaphors and stuff. And
Okay. While I am not a writer, by doing podcasts, my vocabulary has gotten real good, better. And then people go, "What?" I'm just like, I don't want to use a big word. I'm sorry. Then I go immaculate, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "All right, I gotta leave. I gotta go."
I definitely
uh,
can write, but it's the I can agree with you on the sitting down and like committing to that like thought process of writing it all down.
mhm. Yeah, and the burnout is real because like I put out, generally sometimes I hit it, but generally I put out almost a novel's worth of smut on Patreon a month, like a legitimate word count novel.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and sometimes you just get a little burnout. I've read, you write 20,000 words in 3 days, and then the next day comes along and you're like, what in the goddamn am I even doing?
I feel that. I understand that. I have an awkward question. As someone who knows the ending of Attack on Titan, do you when you sit down for a story, do you make it up as you go, or do you already have the ending in your head and you're like, all right, how do I get there?
Generally speaking, for I would say the majority of the original stories that I write, I know the general flow of events in my head, and sometimes I write them down on like the notes app on my phone, or like if I start a story and I don't want to forget something, I'll write it like 3 pages down. I'll just hit space, enter a bunch of times and type down some notes.
Okay.
But yeah, generally I will have a beginning, middle, and end, and I just sort of will like fill in the details. Like this, I started a story today, and it's like I know it's gonna go lunch date, Fuda girlfriend goes to work. While the Fuda girlfriend is at work, bimbified witch girlfriend is gonna accidentally cowify herself. Fuda girlfriend comes home, doesn't realize that witch girlfriend is now stupid cowgirl, fucks her, realizes after, and then has to try to figure out a way to turn her back, and that's the end.
Let me know when you're gonna post that. I'm gonna read the fuck out of that.
It's the sequel to the bimbification story that I wrote called A Magical Mishap.
There you go.
I would do a Hey Siri joke, but I have Android because iPhones are not fun. They're too easy.
But yes, this one will involve, breast expansion and lactation, and I guess technically kind of light furry, very light.
Damn, you're hitting both of our buttons at the same time. I didn't think that was possible.
You were just like, let's make every host here excited.
That's what I tried
pretty
to
sure
do.
You
Minka
missed
was here.
out. I'm sorry. No, Minka would be all for the bimbo
Yeah,
vacation.
you would nail like all of you would like hit every like mark.
That's one of the things that I have found more and more as I write is trying to keep things interesting within the like specific fetish that I write. Because like it's great and all to write, hyper Fuda fucking whoever. There's another thing that I think, to go off on a small tangent, helps with my popularity is like a lot of writers like only write hyper Fuda on female or Fuda on male or whatever like that. I don't care. I wouldn't even write as much Fuda if hyper male stories made me as much money, because all I care about is that there's a giant dick and balls involved. I don't care who's topping who, what the pairing is, as long as they're adults.
Fair, respectable.
And I think that helps me too, because it offers variety. But like I was saying, within the genre that I write, I do try to like I said before, I try to branch out and write other things. They're still going to be rooted in some kind of hyper giant dick and cum inflation and all that stuff, but written bimbification and expansion content. And I have hyper male stories. I had a popular story that involved a hyper trans woman. Just different body types, different characters, different narratives. Sometimes it's going to be a rough, vicious cuck stuff, and other times it's going to be like romantic, cute, here's a girl with a giant dick who's just a normal girl and wants to find love kind of stuff.
You got me. I love my nice soft stories.
I did write a story once that at least one of my readers told me made them cry from sadness. So that was like a new one to mark off my belt. I didn't know whether to be happy or sad about that, but like upon reflection, I was like, I don't know what was wrong with me when I was writing that story, because I
feel like as long as that didn't impact that person too deeply.
I don't think they unsubscribed from my Patreon, so I'm gonna assume it didn't do
as long as
hurt
they
them too
said
bad.
thank you, it made me cry, and not like how dare you make me cry.
I've seen fucking Your Lie in April. Yeah, you're right.
That story was a cuck queen story.
God damn it.
What?
Nothing. It's not important. Fuse, you had real questions, because my life's just been falling apart the last 3 days.
Honestly, I'm just more amazed with everything that M says. I'm just like, oh, M, where have you been my whole life?
You don't use Twitter because you're a non-Twitter user.
Yeah, but he also only started writing 3 years ago.
Yeah, man, it's like the last 3 years haven't existed to anyone because the last 3 years aren't real.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
But I needed him like 15 years ago when I first found this stuff.
Look, I needed
When you were 7?
myself 15 years ago when I found this stuff. Given that I said I'm almost 30 and I started reading erotica 15 years ago, I was like 13.
I feel like reading, you get a pass. It's not. It's way more degenerate because the words, but like it isn't seen as degenerate because they're words.
I feel like it would be seen more degenerate if people knew what the hell I was writing or reading, for that matter. Because I think a lot of times, people hear like, oh, they're reading an erotica story. They just assume it's like the cover is a half shirtless Fabio looking guy, and it's about a lonely housewife whose young attractive neighbor catches her eye and steals her away from her ungrateful husband and that kind of thing, and not look at this Fudo where a person has a condom while she fucks another person.
Damn, that's it.
Yeah, what you said was way more fucking degenerate. Goddamn.
I actually well, shit, now I'm actually not sure. It's getting harder and harder to remember. I don't think I've ever written that. It's on my list.
You're getting old, Em. You're forgetting stuff.
I recently realized that in the just about 3 years that I've been writing, I've written 1 million words, just thereabout.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, I can't even picture that.
I can.
Well, if you go scroll through my AO3, you don't have to picture it because that's about 850,000 right there, and there's at least another couple 100,000 that's Patreon exclusive. But at one point it's like the story I started today is a sequel. It's the second chapter of A Magical Mishap, and I literally have my own story up on AO3, and I just have to keep control Fing. Like, what color is this character's eyes? Like, how big did I make their breasts? Because I wrote the first chapter a year and a half ago. Like, it's been so long that I'm like, I don't remember what this Fuda's dick looks like, or how big I made it.
I never would have thought I would hear that sentence.
You sure about that? You positive about that?
I mean, ever since we started this podcast, it was definitely a probability.
Yeah, it was.
And actually, I will say one of the few things I did concretely remember was how big her dick was.
Proud of you.
You said you listened to our Fuda episode, right?
Mm-hmm. I've listened.
I'm so sorry.
I listened to. I liked your Fuda episode. I listened to that one.
Episode.
No. What you said at the fucking end, or was that for a different episode?
What did he say?
No, it was for an episode. You going, yes, liking Funta makes you 1% gay. I'm like, oh god, here we go.
That was my question. Where do you stand on the is Fuda gay?
Oh my
god. I don't know because I don't really think about it, because in my personal life outside of writing, I identify as bi or pan or whatever the kids call it. Basically,
you love everybody.
Yeah, if I find you attractive, I don't care. In terms of that, I don't care what you identify as or what's between your legs or whatever. I'm trying to fuck.
It's pan.
Pan people use pan to signify that they're also attracted to like trans people or non-binary people, because bi.
I was gonna say all the in-betweens.
Yeah, like just two. Like you're only attracted to cis men and women, whereas pan is supposed to be more encompassing.
Okay.
But like when it comes to like my online writing fetishes, it's just giant dicks and balls and lots of cum. Like it just is such a non-question whether it makes you gay or not, because I don't care. Does it make you gay? Does it make you gay to like really gnarly descriptions of giant veiny cocks? Maybe. Does it matter? Not really. Maybe it makes you 1% gay. Maybe it makes you 100% gay. Maybe it makes you so not gay because you've taken the man out of the equation that you're actually negative gay. But chances are you might be a little gay. And a lot of people that I talk to in the community either don't give a shit or like, yeah, maybe.
That just put a whole new spin on it, and that hurt my brain. I was like, oh, crap. That might be right. But I'm the type of dumb person who will be like, I want to think about the stupid questions that have literally no meaning whatsoever, and even if I had the answer, would not change my life in the slightest. So when I ask, does Fuda make you gay? It's not like I care, but it's like, what is your opinion? I want to hear.
I get it.
You need someone to tell you the right answer, so you're not questioning it yourself the rest of your life.
No, I have my answer. I just want to hear their answer and why they think
Yes,
so.
and your answer is objectively wrong.
See, I don't think so.
Yeah, because it's your fucking answer.
I know.
I know where you live. Don't make me come hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm gonna take your fucking. I'm gonna take all your dogs now, all of them, because you got more than one now.
Ooh.
Do you hear that threat?
I heard it. I'll be your witness in court.
You can keep your house. I'm not gonna touch your wife. I'll take your dog though.
That's pure evil.
Yeah, exactly.
I get subjected to so much abuse. It's horrible.
I've heard on the podcast.
I was gonna say, oh, you don't know half of it.
The Fuda makes you gay thing, I had to consider a little bit. I mentioned before that I had a trans character with a hyper dick, a trans female character.
That's what I was going to ask. When you said hyper, I didn't know if you meant hyper dick or hyper boobs.
Hyper dick. No, she has just like modest B cups or whatever. There's a tangent that
cups?
B, not E.
Okay, I was like E. I mean, technically in a world of hyper, I guess that's
yeah. In the story, it's mostly from the perspective of the male character who's kind of himbo-ish, and he grew up with the trans character, and as adults he realizes, hey, maybe she's been my soulmate this whole time. So he, asks her out, and she's like, well, hell yeah, I feel the same way. And then they have sex, and he both penetrates and is penetrated. And I had to write in sections because he's supposed to be kind of not overly intelligent, kind of himbo-ish. I basically had to write in sections of him being like, is this gay even though it's with a girl? So it has something I've had to consider for a story.
See, so it's not that absurd of a question.
It's pretty fucking absurd for you.
Pretty much like
it's just how you said it so confidently, and everyone went, "You're fucking wrong and stupid."
See, I'm not gonna lie, I did it that way on purpose.
Listen, man.
I wanted to get you guys to react to it, so I said it as confidently as possible.
And you got a reaction.
Yeah, that's usually my goal.
No comment. So, do you only write for books, or do you write for comic books and other stuff?
No, I've never written dialogue for any kind of comics or doujins or even really captions. I helped. There's a Fuda author named Kurgan who isn't as active as he used to be, but we used to chat back and forth, and English wasn't his native speaking language, and I helped him clean up some of his dialogue for single pictures. But no, I've never really been approached to do dialogue for comics or anything. There are artists and stuff that I am friends with, and I've talked about it a little bit with them, but nothing has ever came out specifically. I wouldn't mind doing something like that. It would be a fun challenge compared to just writing stories all the time.
Well, if you ever get stuck in a writer's block or creative rut, there you go.
And I just have to have somebody approach me first.
Fair.
My brain fried by time.
How difficult was it in the beginning coming from no writing background?
Surprisingly not very.
God damn it.
I really I got inspired, had an idea, just started putting it down. I mean, when I look back at it, even though I still have people who would tell me that's my favorite story you've ever written is a condom big enough for Fuda chapter 1. I look at it and I see a lot more flaws now than I would have noticed back then. But for the most part, it really started to come very easily to me. And at least at first, definitely almost immediately having a bunch of people who were I wrote this story as a one-off and had no intentions of continuing it, and people were just I want more. I want to see more. I want more from you. Where did you come from? And I'm still writing it. I just put out in 3 years, the 6th chapter of A Condom Big Enough for Fuda on my Patreon last month. For the most part, it just felt like it came natural. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm writing masterpieces or anything of the sort, but I would say that for a smut writer, I'm fairly good. I didn't really hit any issues until about 6 or 7 months after I'd started writing when I was still doing it for a hobby. And I think I just sort of burned myself out. All the excitement sort of reaches like a fever pitch and then it collapsed a little bit. Not necessarily even like people's reception to my works, but my own excitement for writing. And I remember I had like said all this stuff, and I was doing a second chapter of a collaboration with another guy in the community, and I was like, I'm going to be writing. Here's my schedule for the next month. That I was like telling people, even though I didn't owe anybody shit because I was still doing it all for free. And like I got like a third of the way into that story and I just couldn't do it. And I had to tell the guy, I was like, look, we're going to put this on hold. And then that hold just became that it never happened. And I was like, I'm going to take a step back and write something that I wanted to write rather than all these promises and this like schedule I tried to set for myself. And this would have been like early 2021. And it took me the better part of like the middle of that year to really start to like gain that enjoyment for writing. And I was writing slower at first, and then I started to slowly get back into it. And then I was like, hey, I'm writing again. What if I quit my job and opened up a Patreon and started taking commissions? And that was like October of 2021.
Please tell me you like had steady income before you were like, hey, fuck you, I'm leaving.
Oh yeah, I had been working as a server that entire time. That's part of the
Okay.
reason that I did it was the restaurant that I worked at lost a lot of people, not to COVID, like nobody died, but like a lot of servers didn't come back. We were having trouble hiring people. So I was working like 40 plus hours a week and a lot of times by myself. Like I would work like 5 hours
God.
at a time, the whole restaurant. And so I was making like a shitload of tips. And I don't have a lot of bills. I mean, I don't even have a car. I don't drive. And
Now I feel old and weird.
no, it's because I'm actually almost legally blind, so I feel safer for not being behind the wheel.
I feel that.
Valid.
But I basically just saved up a shitload of money, like 10, 15,000 or something like that. And I was like, might as well just bet it all on this gamble and see if I can get to a place where I'm at least making enough of a living to support myself and the bills that I need to pay. And I got there.
And now you write smut for a living.
For going on 2 of my 3 years or so of being a writer.
So now you can say you've lived the American dream.
So far.
You pulled the SSR. Gotcha. Most people don't know what that is.
Yeah, I pulled the UR
That
plus.
took me a minute to connect the dots. I thought you were talking about the Soviet Union or something.
My goal for you for the end of the year, we're gonna get 5 more anime titles under your fucking belt.
SSR is a gotcha term. How's that anime?
Because gotcha games are just derivative of anime.
Are there animes that use those ranking terms?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you not watch the masterpiece that is Overlord?
No.
So I haven't watched Overlord out
Oh,
of spite and pity. However, now that my friend who does not like Overlord is like, it's not as bad, I'm like, all right, well, if you're saying that, I guess I'll watch it. However, I am still holding a grudge because it got 4 seasons from Madhouse. And Madhouse was like, we don't do second seasons. And I'm like, why does that show have
look,
4?
that was before Madhouse because Overlord got 3 seasons, and then they're like, we're gonna make you wait 2 years to do the 4th season, and that's why I've never seen the 4th season because I have not watched anime since 2020 ish.
Hey, man. You wanna know how long we've been waiting for a season 2 of No Game No Life?
Yeah,
Made by Studio Madhouse?
do we really need a second season of No Game No Life?
Yes,
I
we
mean,
do.
The first season was fine. It was
No,
it was
wasn't.
fun.
It was set up. It was literally all set up.
The movie was fun.
The movie is more set up.
But do we really need another season of super video game genius pervy bro and sis?
Yes. Fucking Oremo exists. Redo of a Healer got its full run, which is bullshit, and Interspecies Reviewers got canceled. That's bullshit.
That was such a good one season of Interspecies Reviewer.
The one proud thing I will say I own, or the one thing I'll say I'm proud to own as an anime watcher.
Watch that whole season with my girlfriend every week with dinner.
Boy,
Are you guys like
years,
expecting?
and then there's One Piece people who are like 1 month for a chapter. Sad.
One Piece readers aren't real people, so.
Damn.
I thought I liked you.
I was gonna say you weren't a real person earlier, but god damn.
It was too easy not to take that shot.
You're correct. About as low hanging as a gum fruit.
Oh, I don't like you all either. You guys are both horrible people.
Hey man, I'll watch One Piece when it's done. I've said this. I will once it's all done, I'll read it.
Okay, it's not gonna end for like another 10 years.
5. It's between 3 and 5. I'm still figuring it out, and I'm like, whatever, man. Do your thing.
I mean, 5 is definitely like it's the shortest. You might have to wait.
He literally said we're in the final arc. The end of Wano is the beginning of the final arc.
How long was Dressrosa?
I don't fucking know.
Like 300 chapters.
Hey man, you remember the fucking Chimera Ant arc from Hunter x Hunter?
No, I didn't read Hunter x Hunter.
All right then, shut the fuck up.
God, we need more Hunter x Hunter. I don't even care about the manga.
If Togashi would stop putting it on hiatus.
He's got to play those rhythm games.
Bro. Just tell the author of Sailor Moon, hey, you married him, you gotta pick up his slack. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules.
Don't bother her with Hunter x Hunter.
She's literally the only reason we got the last 4 chapters is because she was helping him.
Don't bother her. We all
guess.
have to suffer as we wait for the release. I have to suffer even more because I don't even really read manga, but I would probably come back and start watching anime if Hunter x Hunter got a new legitimate season.
You're gonna be waiting a while, friend.
Oh, I know.
Listen, I just want Rent a Girlfriend to fucking end and be over. But merchandising, so it won't.
So you feel about
I'm tired.
You feel about Rent a Girlfriend how I feel about Chainsaw Man.
Okay, but Chainsaw Man isn't stupid and bad. You just don't understand the references. There are no references in Rent a Girlfriend. We literally hit chapter 300, and he has made no progress. None. 0.
Why are you still reading it?
I'm not. It's in my favorites, so I can keep tabs on it and go, it's been like 5 months. No progress? All right, cool. And I will do this every couple of months to go, damn, it's still going.
So that's how I feel about Chainsaw Man. No progress.
What are you talking about? He's dating the girl now.
I gave
They're
up.
A couple.
I stopped reading it.
Whose fucking fault is that? Whose fucking fault is that?
It's not my fault. It took
How? It's not your fault. You stopped reading it.
It took too long.
You read One Piece. You can't say that.
Okay. At least Luffy learned something every island. It took what's his face
Denji
too long to learn. Oh, there's more to life than touching boobs.
It took him literally till the next arc where he got his heart ripped. Well, not literally ripped out. He got betrayed and he went, okay, so there's touching boobs, then there's intimacy. What's after that? And we're like, you're too young, don't worry about it. And now we're like, you're old enough. Here's how you handle a relationship. And he's like, this is hard. Like, congratulations. Yes, relationships are hard. Mm-hmm. You have to remember, he came from the Yakuza was gonna chop him up, sell him to other people as food because he couldn't clear his debt. He's coming from like -4.
Okay, well, why is that stupid chainsaw demon still important? Not the like him.
Because
I'm talking the puppy.
Spoilers for Chainsaw Man. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Poochie. Poochie is important because if you control Poochie's heart, you control Chainsaw Man. And Chainsaw Man can erase devils. If you can erase certain devils, you can erase things out of existence. That's why.
Yes.
Well,
but why is
Poochie doesn't know
Poochie
any of this.
Still so important? Like, why do we keep seeing merch of him?
I just explained it to you.
No, I'm saying why do we get merch of him to this day? Because he's cute.
Oh, because
he's
cute. It's the same reason we get merch for Rent a Girlfriend, because the girls are cute.
That's stupid.
It's the same reason we get any fucking One Piece merch. The characters look cool.
Yeah, but you keep getting new One Piece merch. You don't get the same stuffed animal 6 years in a row.
Chainsaw Man's been around for like a year, my guy.
It's been like 3.
There was no merchandise until the anime came out. He was very explicit in going, "Yo, we're not doing merchandise until this gets an anime." And then the last chapter of part 1 was, "I'm getting an anime."
Fine, I can respect the grind then. If the author said it like that, I can respect the grind.
Literally, they're trying to figure out how to kill the Death Devil so they can get rid of death as a concept in the world.
Okay,
So people don't have to die anymore.
It's pretty much just like Undead Unluck. Gotcha.
No, because there's other things happening.
I'd prefer Undead
Like,
Unluck. That's better.
You can't say that because you haven't read all Chainsaw Man.
I'm caught up enough.
No, you're not. What does that mean?
He's
That's like me saying, yeah, I got
enough.
to Sky Island in One Piece. I'm caught up enough. Is Sky Island even the real arc in One
Yeah,
Piece? I just
Skypiea.
made that up. Oh, okay. Well, same thing.
Are you happy, Alt?
No,
Is this all staying in the episode?
most of it.
Okay.
This is why we need Minka, so I just don't berate you and you try to defend yourself. If that make you go, oh, I was wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You are wrong.
No, I'm just moving on. I'm tired of the arguing about it this episode.
Because you're tired of being wrong.
No. We'll argue about this in like 2 more episodes when we have a different guest on.
And they will tell you the same thing. You're fucking wrong.
Have you read Chainsaw Man?
I'm not saying it's the best thing in the fucking world. I'm just saying it's really fucking good.
Thoughts on Chainsaw Man?
Cthulhu's in it now, and I'm like, I like Cthulhu as a concept.
I don't know anything about Chainsaw Man besides like some of the porn I've seen of it, I guess.
Don't read it. It's terrible.
It's better than One Piece.
Don't say that.
I couldn't tell you.
I just did.
I could tell you the last light novel I read. I couldn't tell you the last manga I read.
What's the last light novel you read?
The Katana Gatari light novels.
Oh!
Because they were finally translated to English and the anime a few years ago. And the anime is my like number 1 anime of all time is the Katana Gatari anime.
You say that, my mind goes, that's like the final part of the Monogatari series. I'm like, no, that's something different.
Yeah. Same guy? No.
He needs to stop working. He much like Ano and Miyazaki need to just fucking retire and be old and enjoy life. That's it. Just do that.
Does Shaft? I've watched the majority. I assume the majority of the Monogatari series, in its original airing order, as difficult as that can be. Is Shaft still even?
Yes, they're still around. They still make
No.
stuff.
Are they still? Is there any more Monogatari light novels
No.
to even? Okay.
No, it's all done. I am slowly collecting them.
What was the last part of
Yeah,
that?
So how do you feel about Monogatari? I can't. God damn it. Monogatari as a author.
It's harder to say as an author because I've never read it. I only watched the anime adaptation, and the Katana Gatari ones, or the light novels, the first light novel I ever read, and it's very. I get that it's translated from Japanese and all that stuff, but it's very interesting in how it's written. It's just very different than really anything that you'll find in America. How Monogatari itself is written, at least from my perspective as an anime watcher, it's like fairly complex, although I think that a lot of the nuances in some of the language and the character names and what was happening would have been lost on me if I didn't watch it while also having the Reddit thread discussion on our anime subreddit up to read about it at the same time, because that's what I used to do when I was a seasonal garbage eater anime watcher.
Hey, whoa.
Are you really going to deny that?
Listen.
Look,
because there's so much shit now.
When
we
you
just
watch
watch the good things.
When you watch 15 anime a season, every season for like 4 years straight, you can call yourself a garbage eater, because that's what I was.
Damn, I wish we could go back to 15 shows a season. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff with like the naming conventions and stuff, it's creative, and I understand why that guy is so popular and well known, besides, the
toothbrush scene.
Oh my god, the other part, I can't even say anything, because once, just for a stupid joke, long before I started ever writing smut, I bought a Docky, and the only Docky I could find with a character that I even remotely liked had Hanekawa from Monogatari on it, and it was for one
Fair.
stupid joke, and it was like $15,
Fair.
and I was like, worth it.
I mean, I own 3 going on 4. I don't use them because my actual body pillow's at my other house, but you know, I have them.
Hey, I'm not judging you.
Judge him, man.
It'd be better if you did. It'd be better content wise if you did.
Look, as a, you know, I've made more friends and stuff. I personally don't own any sexual anime objects in real life. I build gunplay. That's about as sexual as it gets to me.
Oh, that's where all your money's going. Okay, I'll get one day when I learn how to read and be patient.
Just buy the lowest grade, which is still good quality. You can do it. Trust me, I've got fat fingers and shaky hands, and I still manage to make them.
All right, I'm gonna take your word for it.
I've just, you know, it's just maybe it's because of the people that I end up surrounded by in the not safe for work community, but it's like I don't even bat an eye when somebody posts and they're like, "Look, it's my 6th figure of the redheaded chick from Fairy Tale." Shout out to you, Op.
I gotta give your friend more conviction than me. I couldn't publicly be a Fairy Tale fan.
He's not. He just really wants to bang the redhead, whatever.
Urza.
Yeah, Urza.
I mean, he's the one taking it. It's Urza we're talking about. He's not. He is not.
I'm pretty sure he just commissioned an artist for a Hyperfuda Urza piece, but he's gonna listen to this. He's gonna know exactly who I'm talking about. Him.
Yeah, you heard it. M's calling you out.
We appreciate you for listening. I commend you for being for liking a character in Fairy Tale because I can't do it.
He's also a Hyperfuda writer.
Congrats on being talented than me and the other host. We are dumb.
Question popped into my head. Related to another episode that we are trying to work on.
Mm-hmm.
AI.
Oh, God.
Thoughts?
Yeah.
I am against AI. It is stealing. People that use it are entitled. It's soulless. And it's a way for tech to make yet another thing in art to be commodified, mass-produced garbage. And, you know, maybe I'm biased, but I don't really like the idea that somebody can take my entire 1,000,000-word body of work and plug it into a machine and put me out of a job because they can just type in Hyperfuda blah 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 and it spits them out a 20,000-word story that's to their liking. So I'm against it.
You have no supporters here, Pius. You really don't.
Okay, I completely understand all of the cons.
Mm-hmm.
But there's
also
arguments
it looks like shit and it reads like shit.
Yeah, that's to be fair. Right now, AI is 95% terrible. Like, all of it comes out as shit.
Absolutely.
Like, unless you do, like, the, like, altering, like, the percentages of where it's pulling from and junk like that, you can't get anything good out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is an inevitability that AI is going to take over. Not society, but it's just the next step in advancement.
So, Pius, here's the problem with that. Do you know what's going on in Hollywood right now?
Yes. I know the writers.
Whole ass writers strike about this literal thing with literal writers. So
I understand that.
I get the argument that it could be an inevitability, but I think especially now with the writer and the actor strike and all this stuff, I think that as the law starts to catch up to it, it's going to be, at least in the United States, and presumably other countries are going to follow, although maybe it's my third eye opening, but I foresee certain other countries being a little slow on the draw. It's going to have more regulations, especially I think when it comes to making money from it, because like I think I would still have a problem with AI, but I would have less of a problem with it, or I currently have more of a problem with it because there are people who make money off of it. Maybe not AI writing as far as I've seen, because even the few AI smut stories that I've read to see what my competition is, they're garbage.
Yeah, I was going to say, right now you have zero competition. It's pretty much just an advanced Google search.
A very good editor to make the stories even readable. But the problem is that people are taking that stolen work and profiting off of it. It's one thing to like, it's still stealing, but I guess I feel less strongly about it than if you're just like doing it for fun. I haven't messed with it personally, but like a writer friend of mine, when the AI thing was starting to become big, made some of the characters that we write about in AI to see how close he could get to how they look, and it was kind of cool. And I could see it being useful for that kind of stuff, or like maybe if you're trying to generate a pose, and if AI got good enough, if you're an artist and you're like trying to see how a leg would contort that way, like with the muscles and stuff that you're drawing, I could see it used like that. But the problem that I have is that people are profiting off of it. And I think that even if AI becomes an inevitability, which I don't necessarily doubt that it will, I think that there will be more laws in place to stop people from profiting off of it. And it's going to start at the top with, the Hollywood writers.
Yes, the strike was inevitable the moment AI even existed.
And I think as it starts to move down, I say down, move to the different creative sectors and bigger businesses, is there going to be a big thing with people who, work on marketing material and stuff? Are there going to be strikes there? Is there going to be a big fuss? I think eventually there's going to be laws that pass, and I hope that the laws that pass don't end up on the side of AI, although, it's America, so I feel like it could really go either way. But I'm thinking that as with the strikes and stuff, it'll turn out against AI, is what I'm hoping. And I think will, especially, Hollywood stays shut down until it happens. So
I feel like it'll end up being very industrial standards type of laws. Where it's not for or against, but it makes a like bottom line.
It regulates it.
Yeah.
I get that. No, I'm just, I'm not for it. I'm not really for anything that threatens my livelihood without giving me a way to replace how I make my money. Because even if AI was still around, if I could still make an income off of writing, I probably would care slightly less, or even write for a hobby. But this is how I make my money, and I'm not looking to be replaced.
Well, hopefully one day, eventually.
At least not by a machine. If another author comes around and is just takes my spot, then I lost. But to a machine, there's no pride in that.
So hopefully one day, eventually, we find an AI artist who is willing to come on and argue pro AI with me.
Well, you see, there's your problem, is you call them an artist from the first part.
I know the gripes with it. I'm still going to call them artists because I've seen some behind-the-scenes stuff that isn't just type in what you want and you get what you want.
No, and I'm sure there's not, but it's still... But I can't support the theft of other people's work, at least not to that degree.
When that day comes, I hopefully you listen to that episode and at least walk away understanding the pro-AI argument.
Walk away shaking in anger.
Oh, you'll probably hate me.
You want his address? I know where he lives.
We'll see when the AI episode comes out. Maybe
if you don't hate me already, you'll hate me then. That's for
look
sure.
Here. Maybe the AI artist, quote unquote, will be so insufferable it'll even change your mind, and you'll be like, "Damn, I hate AI now."
Oh, there's definitely pro AI arguments I hate and I find very stupid, but there are some anti AI arguments that I'm just like, that doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's not
people
to the subject.
Definitely reach because of fear, but yeah, I get it.
Like I've heard an argument where somebody was like, "Well, it's just pro-capitalism," and I was like, "Inevitably, what? AI is inevitable in every government archetype because technology is mostly apolitical, and AI is just inevitable, in my opinion."
God, that's gonna get into a whole philosophical.
Yeah, that's philosophical stuff, and I'm sure that just melts Alt's brain.
That's what I have a background in, if you wanted to know.
Well, one day when Alt wants to have his mind just melted from philosophical chat. We'll have you on for that.
Thanks.
He doesn't know I took philosophy classes in college. Don't tell him.
Hey, I'm sure you still hated the subject. I didn't mean mind melting as in
He
you
doesn't
don't
think
know
he
it.
knows me as well as he thinks he does, and it's funny.
All right.
In the episode,
I was
I'm
gonna say,
tired.
I did forget to mention this, but we do what is called last call because we are in a lounge. Actually, we are in a
I don't
lounge.
think you have to explain last call to someone who's listened to the show before. Just saying.
The reminder
But explain
is
for the
nice.
audience.
Hey, you've reminded everybody 2 episodes in a row now, technically. So, I get to do my spiel. So, last call, much like in a bar, you give your final thoughts, any questions. So, you got anything? M, you got anything?
Oh God, I don't think so.
One Piece is still bad.
Shut up, Alt.
I can't even comment on that. I've never even seen or read it. It's just fun to make fun of.
It is.
You people make me cry. All right. Last call is over. M, would you like to shout yourself out, plug where we can find you, what you do for a living, all that junk?
Sure. Once again, I'm MisterretsiM. I am a professional smut writer. If you would like to support me, you can find me under Patreon under the same name, patreon.com/MisterretsiM. That's just the word Mr. forward and backwards spelled out.
Oh, crap, it is.
That's another one. Got another one. I've had people who've like read my works for years who only just.
I wondered why the last M was capital. I was like, that's weird.
You can find me on Literotica, Archive of Our Own, DeviantArt, and Hentai Foundry, all under the same name. Twitter under the same name, but there's a underscore after the word MisterretsiM underscore because somebody already took MisterretsiM. If you want to contact me on Discord, it's also MisterretsiM. I managed to snag the name without needing anything else on it.
Your account was old enough.
And
Don't say it like that.
I beat another oh fucking Christ, I can't even say my own name. MisterretsiM to it, who then messaged me to ask me about it, and I was like, no, you're not getting it, it's mine.
Hold it ransom for $1 million.
Yeah. Let's go support your favorite smut author, smut artist, smut 3D blender creator, smut voice actor, OnlyFans girl, podcast. Give them money if you can. Listen to them, read them, look at them, whatever. Support. Keep it going.
Man, he just gave us a shout out. How kind. In our own podcast. And just like MisterretsiM said, if you want to find us anywhere else but wherever you're listening to us, we are on Twitter at Lusty Lounge, Facebook at The Lusty Lounge, maybe Threads, but that'd be weird. Twitch, we're there and hopefully eventually make content. And if you're listening to us, you've found us on Spotify, YouTube Podcast, or Applecast. Or what's that other one? That's closing eventually.
Stitcher. It's not eventual. Well, it's literally. By the time this is out, Stitcher's gone. So maybe SiriusXM waiting on an email.
I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Do not let the door slam on your way out. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.